G'day, Year 11 students. I want to have a look at Part C as our next part. We've just done a video looking at Part B. Part C, which is worth considerably more marks than Part A and Part B, and has two little bits of complexity. Right? So I think the biggest thing that students who do this well are going to have is in their SWOT, they're going to use business information and data. Reference back to the stimulus that you're given here. And the second thing that you're going to have to do is that you're going to include relationships, patterns, and trends in a clear way. So having highlighted that important part, let's have a little look through here. You're going to you'll get some stimulus that you're going to have to respond to. You're going to have to include an analysis tool. Now, look, we've only really looked at one at this stage. I think it's likely to be a SWOT. The implications that flow from your analysis, and you have to communicate your findings using just subheadings, a progression of ideas, language conventions, including spelling and punctuations. And when I show you my example answer, you'll see that I've used subheadings. There's nothing hard, I think, about that. So it's likely to be a SWOT. Strengths and weaknesses, when you do that, they're internal parts of the business. We've talked a lot about what's internal to the business, and the opportunities and threats, they're the external parts. So some internal things that you might think about, what's the quality of the product service like? What sort of people have you got involved? What about the finance, the operations of the business? How well does it run? Maybe management's great, maybe management's terrible. That could be either a strength or a weakness. And then you go to the external things. What are your competitors doing? What are some ideas around technology changes? Have they taken advantage of it? Maybe they could. If they have, it's an opportunity. And customer preferences. How might customers be changing their ideas? And once you've done your SWOT, you then come inside your synthesis, right? The discussion from the SWOT, the relationships, patterns, and trends, and the why. An important relationship with this SWOT is something because. Why is that important? And finally, you need to draw a conclusion for the business situation. So let's have a little look at my SWOT. This was another SWOT, I think, that was around, the data we were given, the stimulus we were given was around a business on Stradbroke Island. So here was my response. The business was CJ's Pizzas. So they were a business on Stradbroke Island, really close to the jetty. Everyone comes to Stradbroke Island via the jetty, effectively via the ferries that come up to the jetty. They had been a pizza business and they were looking at expanding into cafe type food. They'd done that and it seemed to have been popular. So let's have a look at the SWOT analysis. And you can see to label it, to make it part of a report extract, I wouldn't mind making that bold just quietly. 1.1 is the analysis tool, the SWOT analysis. So the strengths are, let's have a look at how we've done this. The business is talked about as having built a brand that people talk about. This helps support a strong customer base. Link to the source one. Not too bad, not too bad. That's more business information. That's how it's described. Customer feedback. Here we've got some data included here. Customer feedback, Google reviews. There were 55 of them with a 4-star average. So you have a positive leaning towards the customer base. A weakness, we've gone to something here around like products or services, very much rely on its pizza menuing. So you've only got pizza being more of a dinner meal, small targeted base of customer. Threats. The suppliers all come through the ferry. And what's going to happen if supplies get interrupted? In this case, we didn't go into any details, a big thing, but for other businesses, you might think about building some capacity to have extra storage in case the ferry can't get there for a few days or something like that. An opportunity was something that was hinted at, was build these menus beyond just the pizza. So let's have a look at the implications and let's see if we can see key relationships, patterns, and trends. So relationship is two variables that move together in a situation. So there's now more variable sand mining happening on the island, and that has impacted business. So the relationship between sand mining and business is one. So have I described the what about it? Why is it important? This is a concern because suddenly some locals that they've relied on are moving on from the island. A key pattern. A pattern is something that repeats over and over in time. Things get busy on the weekends and public holidays. There's a lot more people that come to the island on those days. So actually turns out CJ's are pretty well positioned to take advantage of it. And a trend is something that is like continues over time. And there seems to be evidence that their well-known brand and popularity is increasing over time. Trends are also good if you can see something around the industry, something like that, you know, growth year on year on year. We didn't have any figures for CJ's, but a great trend to talk about might be if they increase their profits by 4% a year every year. So now we come to a recommendation. CJ should continue to build its branding and focus as both a pizza restaurant and a cafe. This overcomes the weakness of just being a pizza business and provides broader appeal for the island visitors that come each weekend, and of course on public holidays too. You can build increasing opening hours for the cafe option, and also taking advantage of the location. Improve some signage so that all the arrivals to the island are aware of CJ's Cafe and Pizza. So there's an example. There's an example of what you might have to do for Part C with an emphasis on those important things. Data and business information in the analysis tool likely to be a SWOT, and relationships, patterns, and trends clearly identified.